Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. As you see on your screen, Coach Barikoff has joined, and he is going to give us his thoughts on this wonderful season. Tonight was another good game tonight. Kind of boring after last night. I mean, it felt like a spring training game. We warned you this weekend would look like a spring training setting. It had that type of feel to it. But, Coach, how the hell are you, man? It's been a whirlwind lately, hasn't it? I know you're excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be back. It's been a while, and after last night staying up until 1:30 in the morning here in Central Time watching the celebration,
yeah,
I had practice today, and I was looking for a great game. And you know what? The Dodgers haven't won the day after the next game. After they've clinched the division, they haven't won a game, and they just went to town today. So it was good to see, but a little boring, yes.
Yeah, they did. So overall thoughts, just kind of on how the regular season has played out, maybe some of the fan reaction versus some of the reality versus some of the things that Dave said. I know Dave mentioned the other day that he was surprised that fans were freaking out or panicking. I can't remember exactly how he put it. Versus moving forward, maybe some real concerns, maybe some of the things that shouldn't be concerns that are that kind of stuff. Yeah,
you got time for this, Casey? Because this is going to –
Oh, yeah, I couldn't wait. It's why, hey, man, it's right now. I'm going on like 3.5 hours of sleep. It's 10:15, and I wanted to stay up so I could hear this. So, absolutely.
All right, well, here's what I'm going to say. The season, I want to say Dave Roberts.
Hold on, let me get some popcorn right quick.
Yeah, exactly. This has been the best job Dave Roberts has done. For a guy with an all-time winning percentage of 62% wins in his career, a man that only wins. He's won a World Series, and dealing with this Dodgers pitching staff. What was it? I'm going to be a little off on my numbers. 17 different starting pitchers, 40-something plus
40,
different relievers used. Injuries to Betts, Muncy, Freeman taking some personal time. And yet here the Dodgers are 2 games up at the best record, and we are still questioning this man as a fan base. I think the best tweet I saw was by some guy named Noah, and I've responded to him for 3 days in a row. How are the Dodgers going to possibly respond after a triple play? I didn't think I couldn't believe that our fan base thought the season was over. Yeah. It was one game.
They thought it was over a month ago.
In this case, one game.
Yeah.
And you know what? The Dodgers showed they were going to. I got shredded on social media about that. The Dodgers care more than us as fans do about winning. It's their profession. I got absolutely shredded that I had no idea what I was talking about. And you know what? It sure looked like I did, because the Dodgers bounced back in 2 must-win games, came through with clutch hitting. Bullpen was rock solid. We got an incredible outing from Walker Buehler, who looked like a guy from the 2018 division clinching game. I don't get it. And I'm going to touch on one other subject. I get it. As fans, we have our rights and opinions to think what we want. I do not understand, Casey, in Dodger Nation out there, the Dodger Dogs. Why do we root against some of our own players not to play well? I've never understood why Dodger fans just want to rip on our own guys and ask for them to be removed. They're our guys. They're the Dodgers. We need to root for our guys. I want to see every one of those guys have success.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense for me to hear all these fans, we can't play Lux, get Lux out of there, get him out of there. Guys, we need them to be successful. Why do we root against these guys? It's never made sense to me. I was never a big Ken Landreau fan or Bill Russell, Mike Marshall, Greg Brock. But doggone it, I rooted for those guys. I wanted them to do well because that meant my team was going to do well.
Right.
Well, Casey, there you go. I said enough.
Absolutely. And it's been a year where I think, first of all, that shirt's sweet, Coach. Show us your shirt.
Hey, listen.
Woo, that's sweet, Coach.
That's from my guy, Ray Locar. He sent me this in the Dusty Baker bobblehead. How about that?
Nice, Coach. That's hey, you know what they would call that in my 5th hour today, right? In my 5th hour at high school, they call that drippy, Coach. It's got drip, man. That's got drip right there, Coach. No doubt about that. Hey, by the way, man, I was really disappointed because your practice schedule absolutely sucks. I was hoping to get you on like 3 or 4 days a week. That thing sucks.
Hey, listen, Blame Oklahoma City University for that. They're killing in there. They're cutting into my Dodgers dog time.
Yeah. Hey, Mac, you can go ahead and leave if you want. LOL, a fan channel that spends half the time bashing the fans. No, we actually don't. We have great communication with our fans. I'm assuming you're new to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. I don't know if you'll make it around here or not, but we are very, very professional in the way, and then very, very positive with the way that we interact with everything. So that comment actually kind of makes me giggle, Coach.
Yeah, Casey, that's why it's fun to come in here, because it's a safe place. You can talk. It
is a safe place.
I think all of the people that follow you and follow us believe in what we're saying. So it's like I'm just saying, man, I just don't get the other fans out there. The fans in here are smart, knowledgeable,
unbelievable. So
that guy, I don't think he knows what's going on.
Yeah, not in this place, definitely. Yeah, no, it's been a great year. Hey, I think the three words that come to my mind the most with this Dodgers team, and I think it does start with your manager, is just stay the course. The Dodgers all year long, they had many chances, Coach, really just to kind of jump off that cliff and lose like 7, 8, 9 games in a row. Let the Padres catch them. And it kind of felt like if the Padres ever did catch the Dodgers, there might be some problems there and let the Padres front run. But the Dodgers just kind of, did one of those little stiff arm deals, just enough to keep the Padres off of them. And so just my feeling of this season is stay the course.
Yeah, and you didn't see panic from Roberts. I mean,
Not at all.
You as baseball minds, you guys could dissect that bunt with Rojas or not. I get all that. Okay. But the guy is smooth, cool, understands his team.
Sure.
And I want to say the last time you and I were on the air together, we said the Dodgers always step up in the big series. Now they've had some clunkers. Let's not kid ourselves. But when the big series shows up, the Dodgers they won 2 of 3 from the hottest team in baseball. I think the Padres were 47-11 case coming into that series. And they're a World Series favorite. It kills me to say it, but let's be honest. If we're going to be honest baseball people, the Padres are a doggone good baseball team. And the Dodgers just took 2 out of 3 with them, with Landon, Knack, Flattery, and Buehler.
Yes.
All right, so come on now.
Yeah. There was a team a week or two ago the Dodgers played that came in super hot as well that the Dodgers cooled down. The games all have run. There have been so many big moments in the last month. They all run together. But I agree with you, Coach. It seems like, every team has their ups and downs. The Dodgers didn't win 115 games this year like we've become accustomed. So it's almost like as a fan base, winning 96 games in a year is almost too stressful anymore. Right? I mean, that's kind of crazy how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, and no one's going to win 100 games this year. Baseball is pretty competitive right now. I mean, it's been a great season, and things are going down to the wire. And for the Dodgers, again, to do what they've done with the injuries and the pitching staff decimated and our bullpen has pitched more innings than our starting pitchers this month.
Yeah.
And to do what we've done.
Oh, they have.
It's been remarkable.
Oh, wow. That is remarkable.
Yeah. It just shows you that Dave Roberts doesn't care what anybody thinks. Management doesn't care. They knew what was going on. They believed, and it was nice to see Friedman being doused by champagne and beer, and
it was.
He looked just like he was so thrilled with it. So I mean, it's exciting.
You know what you saw last night was just they were proud of themselves. It's been a real tough grind, and like I've said a couple of different times, people will never understand just how difficult what this club has had to do this year and what they've done, how difficult what they've done is to do. And so you could see relief. You could see, thank God we didn't let the Padres catch us and this thing blow up in our face right here at the end. You could see a little bit of that, no doubt about it. But you could really just see pride. Like, I'm very proud of what we've done. Also, I think it was very cool, and we kind of mentioned this too, that, hey, yes, there's 11 games to go. Dave mentioned that. He cut that off right at the pass. But for today, we're going to celebrate. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think just because we spend a lot of money or the Dodgers spend a lot of money that it's a given you're going to win a World Series. I think what is it, 11 out of the last 12 division titles. That's unheard of. And I don't want to hear this talk for the Braves because we won a World Series here a couple of years ago. So let's end that talk. Dave Roberts and the Dodgers. Dave's one of the few managers right now currently in baseball that has a World Series championship. Right. And I don't want to hear anybody say shortened season is baloney. Baloney. Yeah. Championships are championships. So
there was an extra round of the playoffs that year, correct?
Yeah.
So it actually was harder.
Yes, and to do what they're doing, it's unbelievable. And to be able to be a fan of seeing this, I mean, my wife and I, we were hugging each other last night in that big rally. We were holding hands, and like, we should not expect this all the time, but yet we get it all the time.
We do.
It's very difficult to see what we're seeing.
I tell you what, though, I'm a Dodgers fan, Coach, and I want my cake, and I want to eat it too. I mean, simply put, right? I mean, yeah, the NL West is great, and I celebrated, and I'm still celebrating the NL West. Tonight's game I didn't give a rat's ass about, other than the fact that guys like Edgardo Enriquez got to pitch, and then Ben Kasperius got – I think those are good springboards for those guys, probably for next year, and that's all a huge deal. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. I enjoy the fact – that Shohei Ohtani is hunting down Luis Ariz to get the best batting average to complete the Triple Crown. Mookie Betts is trying to get to, I think it's 20 home runs. So there's some personal individual achievements that are still fun to follow. But yeah, this has been a deal to where we mentioned coming into this Colorado series that it was kind of a spring training deal, but Ben Kasperius really had a really nice night tonight. I think of everything that happened tonight, I think he stole the show.
Yeah, what was it, 4 innings? And it was great. Yeah. He pitched well. He looked confident. And, my buddy Mike, he texted me and he said, boy, this kid is really looking sharp. And you know what? I said he's trying to prove his worth right now. This was an opportunity to be out and seen in front of making the guys that are going to be making the decisions for the playoff roster. Yeah. And you know what? I don't know if he makes it or not, but it gives them other things to think about now. And it was nice seeing Pages go deep again. And my gosh, the Dodger Dogs talk about it all the time. We've always been fans of home run last night. Yeah. Wow. Great to see, huh, Casey? It was great to see.
It was. Pages is good. And people, I think, forget he's like Edgardo Henriquez. Pages was coming off the injury this year, and he's always been streaky, but whenever you're coming off injury, that's going to kind of exacerbate all of that streakiness type of deal. So to be honest with you, I mean, considering, and you're talking to a guy right now that has seen Andy Pages play all the way back to 2019 with Austin Chubb, with when Ogden still had the rookie league team in the Pioneer League. They're in Ogden, Utah. Okay, so I've been watching Andy Pages that long. Yeah. That's how much experience I have watching him. And I'll tell you this, coming off the injury, did the shoulder injury, he had a way better year than I could have ever expected from him this year.
Yeah, I mean, he came back so quickly, and it was just a meteoric rise. Like, we all knew how talented he was, but to do what he's doing right now, and I thought he was great. And I think people forget that he's playing out of position in center, and yet he still is hitting the ball. And that could weigh on a guy's mental state. And he's been great, man. So, and then again, back to Ben Kasperius, I just was pumped to see him pitch so well. I love the dude, and it was fun also. Let's go back to another guy we all like, Landon Knack in the showdown with Freeland at the beginning of the game. They wouldn't leave. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, I thought it was great, but I mean, it's just it feels good right now as a fan to see what's going on, and let's hope that Freddie's healthy and ready to go.
It absolutely does. Yeah, and tonight the practice schedule was announced by Dave. Going to give Monday, Tuesday is going to be optional. Get back to work on Wednesday. There are times, Coach, to where you take I'm sure you still have a set of keys that's like that big that you have to carry around with you because you have a million different doors you have to open. But I'm sure there are times even during the season, especially during the season, where you take all those keys, you lock every door, and you tell every one of your players the gym is not open. That's Monday. Now, Tuesday's optional.
Yeah, and I think this year is a little different than it's been in the past. That's where the Dodgers dominated, and they've just kind of coasted. And they have really had to – these last few weeks have been really tough. And with the Padres playing so well, there's been a lot of pressure. So 2 days off, Yeah, hanging with their families, and they're probably going to go do what I wish I was doing, sitting at the beach and, having a nice drink. And I think that's going to, for a team, I think this team needs a little bit of a rest. And I think it'll be good for them. And I think the Dodgers have planned for this for a while now, of what their plans were going to be if this was the case. I don't think they're just all of a sudden on their 4:30 a.m. flight this morning saying, okay, let's do this. I think this has been planned well in advance. And I think this is the year that somebody's going to get through this round, and it's going to be the Dodgers after this bye. They're going to advance.
Absolutely. Back to Andy Pages. I wanted to congratulate him on Dodgers Dogs here. I know you do too, Coach. I think it's squarely and safe to say that he has made the playoff roster.
I would be shocked if he didn't. Now the Dodgers have shocked us before with who's made it and who hasn't. But I think Pages is too big of a factor coming off the bench. Too big of a bat, and I love his arm in the outfield. I think he makes that playoff roster. I think he's one of the guys that has secured that spot.
When they put him in, what was it, the second game against the Padres in center field instead of Kevin Kiermaier, when Miggy Rowe went down, that told me right there that Andy Pages is making the playoff roster. So I think it squarely comes down. Interesting, Coach. I think it squarely comes down that last playoff spot to Kevin Kiermaier, CT3, who both had 2 hits tonight.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
I'm going to go with that.
We know who they're going to choose. We know who they're going to choose.
CT3. I think that's the smart move. But again, I'm only I'm just the guy sitting behind a computer, so I don't have to make those multi-million-dollar decisions. But I'm choosing CT3, and I could be wrong. And if it's Kiermaier, then let's go with Kiermaier. I'll be pumped either way.
So you're choosing him because that's who you want, or that's who you just know how the Dodgers make decisions, and that's who you think they'll take?
I like his versatility, that he can play different spots. I like that he's got great playoff experience, and I think that is going to be an overriding decision for the Dodgers, that the versatility with CT come in late innings. Yeah. And I think when you could throw out regular season and CT3 has performed well in the playoffs, and I could see him doing that again.
Yeah. What CT3 allows you to do is pinch hit for whoever it may be. Doesn't matter where you're at in the lineup, because it doesn't have to be for a hitter that's playing a certain position, that because you can put him in defensively. It's like if you want to pinch hit, say Kike or Andy Pages, you want to pinch hit Andy Pages with a lefty on the bump because you think it's a great matchup, but yet you want to do it for Gavin Lux. Well, Pages can't play second base, right? That's where CT3 comes. And then you also want to keep Kike Hernandez on the bench so he can pinch hit later as well. So then you bring in Chris Taylor to play defense for Gavin Lux. Andy Pages pinch hits. You make one player out of 2 guys, Pages being the offensive side, Taylor being the defensive side. Then you still have Kike Hernandez to pinch hit later. That's the reasoning behind keeping like a CT3.
Yeah, and you know what? He can play short, too, if you need him to be. And, with Rojas, who knows what he's going to be feeling here in the next week or so. So it's CT3 to me. Forget that Coach Barikoff fandom of CT3. You have explained it perfectly. He's just so versatile that it gives you a lot more options than Kiermaier just in center field.
Empire Jeff TV, good evening. Jeff Barikoff's in the house. Our wonderful moderator, Mike, I know you and him have become good buddies as of late. Dodger Blue 82 says, no hangover, was very impressed with Ben Kasparius. Clayton Lockhart, Ohtani, the great 54-57, go Dodgers. And for the record, I just smashed that like button. Everybody else needs to do that as well. Yuchi Tsunada says, great game. I totally agree with that. Mike says the Phillies, surprised the Phillies lost tonight. Good for the Dodgers, now up 2 games. I think second place is the best position to be, because I think first place puts you in position to maybe have to play the Padres that second round. And I'm not sure the Padres aren't I know the Dodgers just got through beating them, but other than the Dodgers, I'm not sure they're not the best team in baseball.
Yeah, and it just kills me to say it. I think the Padres are one of the best teams in all of baseball. They've made some great moves. Their pitching staff, their starting pitching is really, really good. Their bullpen has been lights out. And, we just took 2 out of 3. But what does that mean when you're going into the playoffs? It doesn't mean really anything. And then you got to play a game or 2 in San Diego, which, San Diego fans are all front runners. Sorry out there, San Diego fans, but they're front runners. And But yeah, the Padres would be very, very tough. That would be a very nervous playoff series if you want to be on. If we're going to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely would. Absolutely would be. It was good to see Barnesy again tonight, Coach. We know, hey, Will Smith hit the big home run last night. I have said, I don't know how many times, Will Smith is a huge key to this lineup because you're talking about the big three at the top, and then somebody between if 2 out of 3 between Teo, Max, and Will can get going, then your lineup really extends. And especially when Will gets going, why it's so big for him is that he's one of those guys that just never swings at pitches that aren't in the strike zone. So he grinds down a pitcher, and then also whenever he's doing damage, he demoralizes the other team's offense, especially after you've already seen the 3 Hall of Famers. It's like by the time you get through Will Smith, you're just exhausted.
Yeah, we talk Will Smith. I hope Muncy starts figuring it out and starts hitting. But, I think with Will Smith not able to play the DH role this year with Ohtani, I think that played a big part of it. Maybe Will Smith could be fatigued, and I hope Barnesy gets to play some this series like he did tonight. Will Smith needs maybe a mental, physical break a little bit, but boy, that home run he hit last night was he just crushed it, and you could feel the energy in Dodger Stadium, and you could feel the energy from Will Smith as he was running around. I mean, that's probably the fastest Will Smith has ever run, but you've been saying it for a while when we text back and forth with games. Hey, Will Smith gets going, this is going to be dangerous. And you explained it perfectly, Casey. Yeah. Will Smith gets going, it's a dangerous, gruesome lineup.
It is. Do you like where Mookie's at right now?
I am. Mike, who's our guy on here, I told Mike I would put the confidence in Mookie if he and Mike, and I like what Mookie's going to do, and I see a big-time playoff series coming from him. I could just feel Mookie is going to be ready for this.
I think he pressed a little bit in the first 2 San Diego games, though. I think he was pressing a little bit.
Yeah, because he's Mookie. Well, he wants to be this stud, and he wants to show I'm worth everything. And you know what? But in that final game, Mookie came through, and he showed the emotion. And I think he showed the emotion because I think he was pressing. And he felt good, like, hey, listen, I am still Mookie Betts. And I loved I love the emotion the Dodgers, they followed after Ohtani. Ohtani had all this emotion. And then the Dodgers followed suit, and I thought that was huge. If Mookie's showing emotion like that, we're in good shape.
Is it possible Ohtani, he's what is he, 54, 56? Is that where he's at right now? I've lost track. I think he stole number 56 tonight. He tied Ichiro last night. He stole another bait, maybe 57 now. Yeah. Whatever the number is. It's one of the he's just a couple points away from winning the Triple Crown, which is amazing. And he's going to, if he did win that Triple Crown with also a 50-50 season, wow, how about that? I mean, that's Babe Ruth type of stuff right there. So this may sound really kind of out there and far-fetched, but why is it that I'm more impressed with everything else about him except for that? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm in awe with what he's done on the field. I'm in even more awe with the emotional leader type thing, the great teammate, the competitive spirit that he plays with. I am in awe of all that kind of stuff because I think I didn't really expect all that.
Yeah, he's like a constant professional. The other thing they mentioned tonight, he's going for 40-40-40, which I think, what is it, Alfonso Soriano was the only guy that did it. I might be wrong on who did it, but he's, 2 doubles away from a 40-40-40. So he's another historic thing when, you know what, Ohtani's acting like a guy that has not been, which he hasn't been in a playoff series. He has seen what this excitement is going to be about. He's been just leveled with the Angels. I mean, he's had no fun, no anything being with the Orange County Angels. And now he's here. Yeah, he's right. He's playing. He's got the opportunity to win a World Series. And I think Ohtani is just his superstar. He is just going up a whole nother level. And I'm excited to see what he can do in the playoffs. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I mentioned this the other day, but when you're with the Orange County Angels, I'll quote you because I'm not from L.A. So, hey, you went there. You take it as far as I can take it, right? I can take it as far as you take it. So I'm going to say Orange County Angels. I'm going to quote you, Coach. So when you're with them and then Mike Trout's not healthy and then you get in big spots and you're Shohei Ohtani, you think like, well, I have to get the big hit because if I don't, Anthony Rendon's not going to, right? That kind of thing. So that really does cause you to kind of go outside your box, trying to do way too much. When I interviewed Dalton Rushing, one of the really things that popped out to me in listening to him was he said, I have to be on winning teams. And the reason is it's a lot easier because when you're on winning teams, you don't have to worry about all the individual stuff. You just have to worry about doing your job, and that's it. Whereas when you're on bad teams, you're feeling like you're having to do everybody's job. You're always having to come through, all that kind of thing. So Ohtani's really feeling what Dalton was talking about, to where, hey, all I have to do is my job. A base hit to right field is good enough. I don't actually have to hit a 3-run home. Because like with the Angels, he gets a base hit to right field, they score 1 run, they still lose by 2, right? So he needed to hit the 3-run home run instead. Whereas with the Dodgers, that base hit to right field is plenty good enough. Or just a ground ball to second base, like we've seen him shorten up and put the ball in play and do for the Dodgers. So I think that aspect of it, to where he has people around him that he can trust and pass, they call it passing the baton, that he can pass the baton to, I think that has really helped him.
Yeah, and it's, let's not kid ourselves. What his biggest at-bats with the Angels in the All-Star game. So I don't think he ever had a big at-bat for the Angels. I mean, maybe somebody can correct me on that. But, yeah, you're right. He's feeling comfortable. He's got Mookie behind him. Freddie's going to be back. He's got Tio, Will Smith, Muncy. Yeah. And, he just needs to do what he's got to do. And I put a thing out on X before the Padres series, and they were talking about it, is Ohtani going to swing at bats? What's the difference between Ohtani and Bonds when Bonds was 11 baseballs? Bonds never swung at the bad pitch and was willing to take the walks.
Exactly.
And I think Ohtani is showing he's willing to do that. I didn't see him swing at too many bad balls. I mean, maybe here and there, but not like he has in the last few weeks where he's just like swinging crazy. He's looking good, man. That's scary if you're gonna have to face him.
The one amazing thing about him too is that he can take a couple of swings at strike 1 and strike 2, and I'll be sitting there going, God, he looks terrible. I mean, he's pulling off the ball. The swing doesn't look natural. I mean, literally, he doesn't look like even a good hitter. And then all of a sudden, kapow, strike 3 hits 117 miles an hour. You're like, whoo, wow. I mean, he can look like so bad on his first couple of swings and then just turn it around just in an instant. It's crazy.
Yeah, and we've watched him enough. If he's down 0-2 or 3-2 count, he always takes the time out, fixes his beautiful hair, and fixes his elbow pad, and says thank you, and then off he goes. But yeah, I mean, he's a stud. I mean, how lucky are we as a fan base to be able to watch this guy every single day? I mean, it's incredible. But we're so lucky as Dodger fans.
No doubt. Empire Jeff TV, they also took 2 out of 3 with their squad on the mound and the entire pen trying to stop us. I think we take them out. They cannot stop Ohtani. He is definitely a game changer. Life journey, not worried about the Padres. Would rather be the ones to knock them out of the postseason. Would be sweeter. That would be sweet. Empire Jeff says, yes, it's 57, Coach. That's amazing. The fact that he's even in the competition for the batting title is insane. Like, I think they're saying on the broadcast tonight, like maybe a week and a half ago, he was like 13 points back, and he's closed like a 13-point gap in like a week or something. It's been insane what he's done. And I know we have a comment here. Do you think the Padres would sit Luis Ariz just to make sure that he doesn't get caught by Ohtani? Would they do that?
Well, I think they talked about that. Eric Karros was talking about that tonight, and the Padres, I'm trying to look right now. Did the Padres end up winning? If they did, they secured the number 1 wild card spot.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't see the Padres doing that. I don't think the Padres are – I see the top Padres being more competitive, and I think that guy just loves to play baseball. I don't see him doing what Jeff McNeil did that they talked about a few years back to beat out Freddie Freeman for the batting title. I don't see Luis Ariza doing that. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Shohei definitely has taken this team over. Mike says Dodgers fans have to give Teoscar some credit this year also. He is having a career best year. Yeah. He's another one that is enjoying, that we have a comment here. People didn't think Shohei could handle the bright lights, and it's been actually the opposite for him and Teo. The bright lights have actually made them better players.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great comment. By the way, Padres are up 5-3, top of the 7th, so I think they've scored a run there. I never thought Shohei was going to struggle in the slide. He's one of those guys I think is going to perform better when the lights are even brighter. And Tio, I think, is the same way. I think some guys have just been – their careers are always – they're made for these type of moments. And I think they have proven they're made for these moments.
Yeah.
It takes a special kind of guy to grow – to play in Los Angeles for whatever sport it is, basketball, football, baseball. And those guys are perfect. Shohei's perfect because he's the best in the world, him and Judge. And Tio is just the fun-loving guy. So it's a perfect mix for L.A., and L.A. people love that.
It is. Okay, let's go to some matchups. We talked about Kiermaier and Taylor. I think we are both on the same board that Chris Taylor will get that last playoff spot. We are both in agreement that not only would Andy Pages make the playoff roster, I think he's going to start some games. And here is where I think he could start games. I think with a lefty on the mound, that removes Gavin Lux. I think you could then put Tommy Edman at second base, Andy Pages in center. Now, that's all contingent on Miguel Rojas being healthy, of which that's not a certainty or a guarantee right now. But I could definitely see Andy Pages getting some starts in center field against left-handers. He crushes lefties. Tommy Edman to second base, Miguel Rojas to short. And you could see a platoon type of situation between righties and lefties that way.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I mean, that's where my mind would be going.
Yeah.
Pages, I think, will be fine in the big moments. I think he showed it a couple nights ago. He was perfectly fine. He put the game away with that moonshot, that tank shot out of there.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And, that's the other thing. Tommy Edman is so versatile also. You're right. He can move him there. And that's a great point. Pages, I think, could play against lefties. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He's a gold glover, no doubt about it. So, Freddie Freeman, are you worried about him at all? I mean, that was pretty nasty. I know the Dodgers, it came back negative. He's not in Colorado this weekend, which is fine. Freddie showed, after the terrible deal with the Sun Max, he came back and he just started hitting right away after missing. Well, I think he missed, 2 weeks during that period? So I think he is just such a great professional. I think he can take this time off and be okay. Yes, he's not going to be able to steal bases, but he does play first base. So where are you at with Freddie Freeman?
Yeah, my only concern with Freddie is I was amazed that he's never had an ankle injury before. He said he's never turned his ankle.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Freddie, what have you been doing? I mean, but I think Freddie's going to be okay for the playoffs. He's a tough dude. He never wants to sit out. I think I was so happy they won yesterday because now you don't have to have any stress of throwing him in here maybe tomorrow or the next day to play. I think Freddie will be fine. I'm just going to go with the positivity because I'm the most positive Dodger fan maybe ever. Fine, and I think we're just going to keep right on chugging with Freddie.
Absolutely. So kind of there's been this narrative, do you play Kike or Lux at second base, right? Especially until Lux started hitting as of late. That's kind of what we've talked about. There's been a couple of different times. It's not this guy versus that guy. It never is, because that's kind of why I bring up that platoon type situation. I don't think it's Kike versus Gavin, but I do think it is probably when you get down to that last roster spot, it is going to be one guy versus another.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to stay on with what I've said all along about Lux. I've said it from the start of the year. I took an absolute bashing for it. Yeah. Lux is going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think fine. He was one of the best hitters after the All-Star break in all of baseball. To think he was going to continue just going like this was craziness.
Right.
He's cooled off, and then he came through. He's had some hits and some big at-bats here lately. And I just don't understand why people want Lux to fail. And all of a sudden, my guy, best player in the world, Kike Hernandez, no one wants to see him. All of a sudden now, Casey, he starts hitting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now Kike should be playing.
Yeah.
I think we just continue to do what we're doing. You start Lux at second, bring Kike off for different roles. I think you just keep on doing that. I don't know why you want to mess with the formula right now where they're 30-something games over 500. I don't get it.
Can Will Smith catch every game in the playoffs? Is Austin Barnes going to get some games? Like, what games did Austin Barnes get?
I'm going to say no. Will Smith has got to play every game.
Every game. Wow.
Because you're going to sit.
Wow,
you're going to sit Will Smith because you can't put him at DH, and that means you're sitting Ohtani. I don't see the Dodgers would have to have a 3-0 lead in a series for me to have Will Smith be sitting there. If it's a 2-1 and Dodgers are up, you're going to sit Will Smith and let Barnesy play. I love Barnesy. I mean, we're as biggest fans of Barnesy as there is, but I get it. You got to rest Will, but I don't know. I would hate to see Will Smith sitting on the bench when we're up 2-1, and I don't know. That's a tough one, Case.
Isn't it amazing how good this team's been, but yet still how many question marks they have? I mean, even the bullpen that's been fantastic. You still, I mean, like, is Daniel Hudson one of your high leverage guys? Is Evan Phillips a guy that's still in the Dodgers? He's been the kind of the enigma. He's been this year's version of Alex Vesia, to where he's had a couple of bad outings that have really stuck in Dodgers' minds, and it hasn't allowed them to realize that other than those couple of bad outings, he's been the typical Evan Phillips.
After the triple play thing where Noah on social media says Dodgers, how do they bounce back? Okay, anyways, I'm keeping going back to that guy, Noah. The next game, you saw what I think you're going to see in the playoffs from Evan Phillips and Brian, and that's what I think. Yeah. I think, and I know the next night Evan Phillips gave up a couple hits here and there, whatever he gave or run, but I have no less confidence in Evan Phillips in that bullpen. The bullpen is rock solid.
Mm-hmm. You say that, okay.
Rock solid.
So Phillips, Trinan, Kopech, those are the three obvious ones. Who else is in your trust tree? You're down, say you're down like you were to the Padres. You're down a game, you have to win the next two to win the series. Which bullpen guys are in your trust tree?
Two.
I mean, I know you say it's solid, but other than those three, who are they?
they all are good for me. Listen, I think Vesia he's shown he can throw in a big outing. I trust him. I still like Ryan Brazier. I'm high on that guy. Yes. I think he gets overlooked in some things. I like him. Who am I missing? Is going to be out. He's hurt.
Well, like Trinan's your bridge guy. He's your eighth inning guy. He's your A-team eighth inning guy. So Trinan's not available. Who's your trust tree backup eighth inning guy to get you through the eighth inning the day that Trinan's not available?
I think depending on matchups, Vesia would be great, don't you? Depending on the matchups, I mean, I've never had any lack of confidence in him. I think you've got a guy that is hot and has had a good year. I think you continue to go with him. I don't want to discount.
1 inning.
Yeah.
Not 2 innings, 1 inning.
Yeah, and I don't want to discount Hudson.
Yeah.
Is
he in your trust tree?
You know what? I'm going to be the one or two guys out there to say, yeah, absolutely, he's in my trust tree. For playoffs, yeah, Hudson's in my trust tree. Sure.
Yeah. You trust Landon Knack if he's not, like, let's say that it's a bullpen game and maybe he wasn't. I don't see this happening, but let's say somebody else like Ben Kasparius took down the bulk innings. I'm just throwing out scenarios. I know these are probably far-fetched, but do you trust Landon Knack as a B team, not an A team? We know who the A team is as far as how do we get to the ninth. Do you trust a Landon Knack in the sixth or seventh inning?
I'm going to say no, not because I'm not a fan or I don't believe in his ability. I think a sixth or seventh inning, that's a different level in the playoffs. And I don't know if Landon Knack is ready just yet. I think Landon Knack has the confidence and the moxie to go out there.
He does.
But there's something about having that experience on being on that mound where you can't hear the stupid pitch com and the place is going crazy and you've got a guy on second and you've got one out. I don't know if Landon Knack's ready for that. It might be almost unfair to put Landon Knack in that type of situation. And I'm a huge Landon Knack fan. I think he's been a savior for some games for us this year. But high leverage in a seventh inning, Landon Knack. Oh my goodness, that would be I'd be a little nervous with that.
When you become a Landon Knack fan is whenever you realize exactly what he is. So what Dodgers fans want out of these young guys or any guy that comes up, and I love this about Dodgers fans, they want all these guys to be the number one starter that's striking out seven. Okay, Landon Knack's like a number 3, number 4 starter. If you realize that that's really kind of where he slots, that's where he's going to slot in the playoffs, number 4 starter, right? He's a pretty damn good number 4 starter, right? So if you're comparing him to other number 4 starters and not comparing him to, well, is he ace level material? That's where you really appreciate Landon Knack, in my opinion. I hope that doesn't sound like a slight to him. That just, to me, that's the realistic observation.
Yeah, and that's why I was so nervous about with Enrique coming up. This flamethrower, right? The
and
Dodgers
Gardo,
and Gardo, sorry. The Dodgers were so like all the social media, our savior's here. And I'm like, oh, Dodger fans, I was telling a lot, please, I just hope he pitches well because we're fans of him.
We are.
I just hope he pitched well because
we're nervous for
Dodgers,
him.
Yeah, the Dodgers fan base could have turned on him so quickly because I don't know how much the fan base actually knew other than a few of us out there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's pitched well. I'm really happy for him. I don't think he makes the playoff roster, but I'm happy he's getting this experience.
Yeah. I've gotten a million different messages from a million different people. Where's the 104? I'm like, guys, he hit 104 like whenever he was peaked. I mean, he's a 98, 99 consistent type guy. The bullet slider can hit 94 from time to time, but it's a 91, 92 pitch. And then his strike slider that we saw tonight is like 90, 91, something like that. Yeah. So I think everything, I was so nervous for him because I was with you, Coach. I've seen him so many times at Tulsa, lose the zone, hang a slider, give up 4 runs, have to get pulled. I've seen that with my own eyes more than once with him. So I was nervous for him, right? And so here's the deal with Edgardo. He's going to get put on the 40-man roster in the offseason because he's Rule 5 eligible. This is the exact same carbon copy scenario as Kyle Hurt a couple years ago. Kyle Hurt was going to get put on the 40-man because he's Rule 5 eligible. So it was like, you know what? We're going to have to put him on the 40-man anyways. Why don't we just bring him up the last week of the Major League season and get his feet wet? Why don't we do that? So they did that with Edgardo Enriquez. They got him some fairly high leverage activity. They got him a nice inning tonight against Colorado. They might get him another inning on Sunday. I think it has worked out absolutely perfect for Edgardo Enriquez, even if he doesn't make the playoff roster.
Agreed. I've pitch clocked him enough here in Oklahoma City enough times. I've talked to you enough about him.
Yes.
I've talked to Alex, a play-by-play guy with Oklahoma City, enough about him.
We all love him.
We all love him. And
yes,
I was all very, very nervous because I know this Dodger fan base, we want it to be so perfect. And I just didn't want him to feel that pressure from the fan base. Hey, man, he's done a great job. I'm so excited for him. And but it's exciting to see the future with him coming the next couple of years.
Is Shohei the greatest player you've ever seen this year? This year's version of Shohei?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Isn't that amazing to say? I mean, let's all take a step back and think to ourselves. I've seen a lot of baseball players over my days, and so have you, Coach. A lot of great baseball players. We are possibly seeing the greatest player that we have ever seen play the game right in front of our eyes every single day. Wow. I mean, sometimes you need to step back, get in the moment, and realize that, I think, just to appreciate it.
Yeah, listen, you can always argue Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge's numbers are phenomenal.
Yes.
The thing that Ohtani can do is if he does pitch next year, which he will. Dino Ebel said it great in the pregame interview a couple games ago. He goes, he's probably going to win the Cy Young and get 17, 18 wins next year just to top it off. That's why I think he's the greatest we've ever seen. At least for me. I'm 50 years old. I was trying to think while you were asking me that. I've seen a lot of great guys, a lot of Hall of Famers. Like, this dude is something different. His size, his speed, his strength, he can pitch. We're so lucky. We're lucky.
Absolutely. We are. 11 more wins till we get to where we need to be. Very proud of Ben Kasperius, Coach. Proud of you, Coach, for after the 3.5, 4 hours, the big practice you had tonight. Not proud of that damn practice schedule you guys put together there at OCU, but proud of you for staying up and hanging with me on the post game tonight. Proud of my beautiful bride of 25 years and my 2 Dodgers dogs that are in the background here for letting Daddy do this tonight as well. That's been pretty cool. So, Coach, hey, this has been a lot of fun. We've had a wonderful crowd tonight. It's been one of those just kind of, I don't want to say hangover shows, if you will, but just kind of one of those deals where it's been certainly a little bit less intense than some of them as of late. So for me, this has been a lot of fun, just kind of getting decompressed and get to talk to Coach Barikoff about the Dodgers, the team that we love the most. So, Coach, any final thoughts?
Well, I'm thinking my wife of 30. I've got Mookie Betts, our pit bull, right up here with me. Dodger dog, our Dodger. Our lab is already sleeping. You California guys out there, Avalon for Catalina. is already sleeping. But listen, we're blessed to be Dodger fans. I mean, we could be Chicago White Sox fans. So could you imagine those live podcast shows? But let's.
What about What about Orange County Angels?
They stink. Listen, I can't wait to talk to you when we get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot to talk about. Dodger Dog fans are going to come in here with some great questions. Casey, you get some sleep. Go Boomer Sooners tomorrow, and here we go.
What about OSU?
No.